Okay. Yeah. So once again, welcome everyone. So we'll be first looking at the history of web and how we came here. So we are always hearing web 3.0, 3.0, everything. We won't be looking into web 3.0, but it's very important to know from where we came so that we can know where we are standing and where we will be going forward. So today we look into web 1.0 and web 2.0. So web 1.0, in the 90s, the simple web pages, there are simple static web pages where, the job of developer was very easy. To become web developer, all you need to know is HTML and some CSS, that's it. And HTML was the markup language that added the structure. Like if you want to say, I want this text to be bold, I want it to be a paragraph. So all this structuring was done in HTML, and the styling part, the coloring, background color, all this was in the CSS. And then they were like, okay, now we have structure, we have style, but we need some interaction. How that can be done? They're like, okay, JavaScript is created. They made JavaScript, and by that time, all other languages were there, but they felt that they might create a new language called JavaScript. But you might be thinking already Java is there, Python is there, all these languages are there, then why create a new language? And that's what happened. We'll come to that. So then Web 2.0. So after 2005, 6, around 2006, we the JavaScript was there and became very popular. And on top of JavaScript, many new technologies are added like jQuery came, Ajax came, and many things came. So in the Web 1.0, what was happening was you ask a server for a web page, you get the web page. Done. That's it. Now, if you want to see the new information that was added to your web page, you have to go and click on the refresh. You click refresh, you get the new data. That's it. In Web 2.0, what happened with the technologies like Ajax? So Google Map was built on Ajax, and Ajax became very popular at that time. Ajax said, "Listen, do one thing. What I can do is no need of a page refresh. Just ask me if you need a new data. I will ask the server, and I will fetch that, and I will rebuild the UI for you in a small area. No need of a full page refresh." So that's what happened with Web 2.0, and it opens so many possibilities. In Web 2.0, there was social media, Facebook and everything was coming up. Games were coming up because you could interact and you could, without needing a page reload, you were able to do it. So imagine you're playing a game and you made it just imagine chess game. You're playing chess in the Web 1.0, you make the move, and if it's going to the server, then to see that move applied, you have to refresh the page. In Web 2.0, it was done seamlessly, and it was integrated very much with the JavaScript, and it was built on top of that. And so that's when Web 2.0 came, and we are currently in Web 2.0 phase where people can add data. So in Web 1.0, you could only view, read only, you could only see data added by the server manager or the website owner. But in Web 2.0, anyone can add. You can imagine Instagram, Facebook, user can add and do the things. So that's Web 1.0 and Web 2.0. So the question, why JavaScript? Same thing was happening back then. Even at Netscape, where the people who are building JavaScript, they were getting this question from other employees. Why go for JavaScript when you have Java and other languages? So that's when Mark Anderson, the owner of Netscape, and Bill Joyofson said that no, we need a language which is very simple, it's very approachable. Because if you see HTML and CSS, they are not, like proper programming languages. They're just markup languages, and it's very easy to learn. But the jump from HTML, CSS to Java or Python is huge, right? It's a huge learning curve. So they said we need something which is very approachable, which is very simple, which doesn't require a compiler. When you're writing Java, you have to compile it down, C, you have to do that. So it's a too much learning and too much of process involved. So let's go for very minimalistic approach and make it approachable for people. And that's how they created JavaScript. So here it is written, I was writing something that could be used by people who didn't know what a compiler was. And that was what made it famous, popular among people. Because the people who know HTML, CSS, they could learn JavaScript very easily. So 1993, Mosaic browser was launched. First web browser, again, first graphical web browser. was launched on 1993, and the owner of Mosaic created Netscape in 1994 and 1995. Brendan each, while working at Netscape, created JavaScript. It was first called Mocha, then it turned into JavaScript. And Internet Explorer also launched on 1995. And by 1995, Microsoft was fully into building, focused on building a browser that works. It didn't work. That's a different story, but they were made, industry to look into web browsers and, work on that. And in 1997, ECMAScript, the first standard was launched. So ECMAScript is just JavaScript, then but the standard specification of the language JavaScript is called ECMAScript. And JavaScript is a popular name used, but it follows the ECMAScript standard. And from that time, every year, they were launching a new updates and, updating and improving upon the language through the launches of ECMAScript. And in 2000, again, is what happened. All this version uploading JavaScript was getting improved every year. 2001, JSON came. So until JSON, it was XML. And XML was, too cumbersome, too, very difficult to learn, very difficult to grasp. And JSON, JavaScript, object notation came and said, you want to transfer data, you can do it in a simplistic way. No need to go through the XML, lots of coding. In 2002, Firefox came, 2003, Safari came, 2004, Gmail came. And again, Gmail had to refresh back then, but with Ajax, and Google made Ajax popular actually. They integrated it in every place. So Gmail came, and with Ajax, Gmail, when new email comes, it is coming automatically. Google Maps are working, and many other things happened in 2005. 2006, jQuery was introduced. It's a library on top of JavaScript. So what jQuery said, okay, JavaScript is great, you are writing things in JavaScript, but it's too much of code that you have to write. Let me make it easier for you. And you can use the library, jQuery. And jQuery, back in the day, jQuery was huge. Like jQuery was a OG legend back then, and people loved jQuery so much. Still, it's, the legacy applications still use jQuery. And in 2007, so JavaScript was there, then jQuery came and made it more easy for people to manipulate the DOM, right? So changing the HTML page, changing a color, one clicking, show some, animation or something. All this became easier with jQuery. 2007 iPhone launched again, the browser, everything. Steve Jobs did the presentation, and people got interested in browsers, browsing. All these things happened. The internet network became very powerful. And in 2008, Google introduced Chrome and V8 engine, which is backbone of Node. And 2009, so up until 2007, people were happy. The developers were like, okay, I know HTML, I know CSS, I know JavaScript, I know jQuery. Done. I am a front-end engineer. I can build front-end applications. Now they are like, okay, what if I want to go to backend? I want to build a server. Then I can do that. To build a server, you have to learn PHP, or you have to learn Python or Java. You have to go through all those hurdles. There was no easy approach way. So they are like, I love JavaScript. I don't want to learn a new language. So in 2009, a person named Ryan launched Node.js. And so Node.js, again, is not a language, a complete language. It's a runtime. So basically, Node.js let you run JavaScript on a server. So JavaScript only runs on your browser. But Node.js came on 2009 and said, listen, you can write the JavaScript that you wrote in the browser, that works in the browser. You can do that in the backend also, in the server also. And that opened so many opportunities for the front-end engineer. Now they could become they could learn the backend. They could become a full-stack engineer just by knowing JavaScript. They don't have to learn any other new language. And 2010, so jQuery was legacy. jQuery was doing everything. The people are like, something is missing. We need to, create a new framework which is more easy to manage the projects. So by 2010, the projects were becoming huge. The front end itself was becoming huge, and jQuery was never built for that huge of a use case. So they felt, okay, let's create a framework. And that's where the framework battle and the era starts. 2010 Angular comes, that's by Google. And in 2011 Browserify, then 2013 React by Facebook. 2014, so we have the framework now. Now we need tooling around that. So they built Babel, Webpack, all these things. And into Vue also came up. So Vue is by Ivan Yu. So he was working in Google and he has worked with AngularJS. So he felt that maybe Angular is lacking something. So he combined the good things of Angular and React to build Vue.js. And in 2015, ES6 came. So ECMAScript 6, the version 6 came. And that's what is currently out there and the proper one that's being implemented everywhere. And also a concept of Jamstack came. So Jamstack is basically JavaScript, API, markup. So J for JavaScript, A for API, M for markup. It's again, just nothing new. It's just, people making choices that, okay, we don't want to use a server or anything. Without server, we want to do everything. So they said, we have JavaScript. Maybe we will fetch data from an API and we will have the markup built, like the pages will be, it's a static page, but it will be built back in the server. It will be generated with that content itself. The pages will be dynamically generated, but it will be static. So Jamstack came, it became very popular and still going on. Many frameworks are out there around that. Then Svelte came to the 16, then WebAssembly, TensorFlow.js. So the interesting part is that JavaScript was built in like 10 days. So the person who created JavaScript, he wrote it in like 10 days. Right. So the language that was wrote in 10 days is now being used in like 94, 95, 6% of the whole of the web. On top of that, it's used on the backend. So if you see the difference between JSON and XML, there's many differences are listed out here. The main difference is this. So left, you can see the XML code that you have written, and JSON is on the right. You can see how readable it is and how easy it is. In the left, it's very difficult to figure out and write. So this is what happens. So basically, browser has to do an HTTP request, and that HTML CSS data comes back in. This is what happens. And for this, that refresh is required. But the Ajax, you don't have to do that. You can request for HTTP request, and Ajax engine will take care of that. And when the data comes back, JavaScript will add the data to the HTML and CSS. So jQuery again. So this is an example of jQuery. Even if you don't know JavaScript, even if you don't know jQuery, you can at least read it. So what it is doing here is that it's targeting a paragraph tag. So in HTML, P is the paragraph tag. So it's targeting P tag with the class surprise. And it's adding a new class. Add class oh my. And dot show means show this paragraph. So see how readable it is. Right. So with JavaScript, it was not that readable. So jQuery came and made everything so simple for people to experiment with animation and such. So here you can see the difference here. So you have to write document to select all those things, but in jQuery it's very simple. You just have to use a $sign. So that's why jQuery became popular. But then after a while, jQuery started going down because people started using React, Angular, all these things. So this is just small number of JavaScript frameworks. Basically every day a framework is created by someone out there, but these are the popular ones. So even if you look for job prospects, it's React has most job listed out there. So this happened, and so this is the first website, the first HTML website put out by the Tim Berners-Lee, the founder of World Wide Web, and this was the first listing of HTML. And this is 2008, 8ish time when Facebook is there with Ajax. It's using Ajax, it's using jQuery, it's using all these technologies in the front end, but back end is built on PHP, right? So still their barrier is there. So but after 2008, 2009, Node.js came and people can build a back end. Also the front end developers can build back end also. So again, like I said before, Node.js is not a language, it's a runtime environment, and you can use it to run JavaScript in the backend in the server. And this is the frameworks. Express is there. Express is the most popular out there. Happy.js is there. Loopback is there, which is supported by IBM. And many frameworks, again, same story here, backend, so many backends come. So another interesting thing happening recently is that, so after people got bored with building these frameworks, now they are moving on to runtime. So Node.js is a runtime. Then the founder of Node.js built Dino. And later, now we recently saw Bun coming out. So Bun is again a runtime. So now we are focusing on this this part of runtime, investing time on building runtimes, efficient and faster. And interestingly, around that time, so Node.js was there now, HTML was there, CSS was there, JavaScript is there. And people are like, I want to build desktop application. Okay, and that's where Electron came. Electron.js came and said, you guys know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and nodes on Node. Do one thing, create your application, and we will run it on desktop. So web developer who was just building web pages can now run the server, build the server. They can also build desktop applications. And the most popular, application, desktop application built on these web technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, is VS Code by Microsoft. And so this is what's happening. So many people are using it, front end, back end, desktop application. Many things are happening. So that's where TypeScript comes in. So Microsoft is building VS Code, and they realize that it's too cumbersome, too much headache to deal with JavaScript in a large scale, because JavaScript is very loosely typed. There is no type out there. So it was hard to find the error and deal with bugs and all. So while building VS Code, they came to know about all these issues, and they said, we need something that will make the VS Code building simple. And that's when they started working on TypeScript, and they added types, then they added interfaces, and ultimately now TypeScript is widely used by everyone. Even Google used TypeScript for Angular while it was released early on. They adopted it, and TypeScript is now everywhere. So it's JavaScript. They never intended to be a competition to JavaScript. They were like, we will make it a superset of JavaScript. We will make it, easy for people to write JavaScript by giving some extra tooling on top of the language. So browsers can't run TypeScript. It has to compile down. There is a compilation process out there, but then it's taken care by the tooling. So yeah, that's it.